So my name's Rajene Hartman, and I'm happy to be here, happy to be with this great group that's put on this online course. And Sherry, Antoine, and I are here to talk about AfroCROWD, specifically methods of engagement and outreach and partnerships, and a little bit about the application of a sort of a formula for enhancing your community project. So that's us there. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about AfroCROWD and me. There are a couple of key events that I had with AfroCROWD that are really stand out in my mind, and one of them, of course, was Montreal. We went to Montreal in Canada for the Wikimania 2017. For the WikiCon North America, AfroCROWD presented, and also I just made so many connections. There were 900 participants in 70 countries at Wikimania 2017, so it was great to be there. That's my last key meeting with AfroCROWD, my last key really exciting one, besides this one. But the first one was really at Schomburg Library during Black History Month, where we'll talk about a little bit later. The main event was sort of we in real time talked to some folks in Ghana that were actually conducting an editathon at the same time. I think we have a slide on that later. Also, Wikimedia, you can see in the bottom image, Wikimedia New York City, AfroCROWD are members of Wikimedia New York City, and they also helped us get to Montreal. And then that photo in the sort of top left is myself and Kelly Foster, who is now the Wikipedian of the Year for UK, and also starting AfroCROWD in the UK. And you can just see that we're just having a ball talking and just enjoying Montreal, and it's really all about making connections and how we can do that. So I know we've talked a lot about why we use Wikipedia, but just specifically for AfroCROWD, Wikipedia is a great information and knowledge gatekeeper. It's popular, and it influences how people do see the world. And also it's in global languages, which is really key for when you're trying to reach non-English speaking participants. And for many cultures, but particularly the culture, the African diaspora culture, there are many languages and dialects that are spoken. So Wikipedia can help with those. And here's a shot, of Ghana. This is from the Ghana side, but this is when we were at Schomburg, and we had our editathon at the same time they were having their editathon. It was really a great shared experience, and it was one of the key moments when I actually fell in love with AfroCROWD. So now I'm going to turn it over to my co-presenter, my colleague, Sherry Antoine, who will take you through what is AfroCROWD and some of the wonderful things that have been going on. Sherry?
Hi, Regine. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here today. I'm Sherry Antoine, the Program and Outreach Manager for AfroCROWD. And let's go back to this slide before. Now, AfroCROWD, the mission of AfroCROWD, and Regine kind of talked a little bit about what it's like to be an AfroCROWD, but our mission is to increase the number of people of African descent who edit Wikipedia and actively participate in the Wikipedia community and Wikimedia community. Now, our focus is very thematic, and it's very targeted to a specific audience. But as I go through our little talk here today, I want you to kind of look for ways that you can apply it to your community as librarians or just people active in your community and your organization. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll get an idea of some ideas that you can use to implement some of the things you've been learning all week concerning Wikipedia and Wikipedia editing. For AfroCROWD, we focus on people of African descent and content concerning the African diaspora. And we, since we began in 2015 during Black History Month, have had at least one thematic Wikipedia editathon or event since we began. I started in August of 2015. Our founder, Alice Backer, who is on the board of Wikimedia New York City, actually founded it in Black History Month with that intention to kind of increase the number of people editing, as the numbers right now have been estimated to be about 10% or lower. So we're kind of slowly getting there. So for those, just really quickly, to get an idea of what we've been up to and what the results of some of our efforts, we've been in the New York Times. We've received cultural preservation awards. We've presented, and as Rajene mentioned, keynoted at several conferences in the Wikimedia community. That's me at the bottom there with Jimmy Wales. And just recently we were mentioned in The Guardian, and we've also in the United Kingdom, and we've also been presented at the United Nations. Okay, now down to the nitty-gritty. So when you hear about an AfroCROWD edit-a-thon, there's many things that might come to mind, but here's the breakdown of what we actually are and what we actually do and ways that you can apply it. An AfroCROWD edit-a-thon is a mixture of regular Wikipedia edit-a-thon, sort of a learn-a-thon, where we start off by training everybody in how to edit Wikipedia. Then we follow on to what we like to call a Wikipedia editing hackathon, where you focus on your project or what you're trying to edit, and you have one-on-one Wikimedia instructors, or what we call wiki coaches, to help you along, to answer your questions. And kind of bonding it up together, it's kind of the atmosphere of a neo-soul cafe. So you'll have people eating and drinking, light beverages. There's music playing in the background. We like to make it very welcoming for everyone. So once you pop in, regardless of your level of Wikipedia exposure, you have a way of plugging in. And there's going to be someone there to guide you along. And then, of course, you've got that corporate kind of learn-a-thon part of it, where we kind of all learn together and all the same page. So it provides a really good communal experience and makes those who come feel pretty welcome. So using this method, we've seen 4 times the expected growth rate that we were looking for. In the span of less than a year, we had more than 65,000 words added to Wikipedia, as well as more than 15 million bytes and counting. And we've grown a lot faster via social media, for example, than we expected, reaching thousands weekly, and that number also continues to grow. So we've seen a lot of quick growth. And a lot of that success comes through engagement. So engagement for AfroCROWD is a big thing, because what we like to do is we like to connect with our surrounding community through partnerships, through allied organizations, through what we call GLAM, which is galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. We also connect through educational institutions and culturally focused institutions. So as you scan through these photos here, it's a kind of a brief example of what those are. We've been at conferences. We've allied with people at the Allied Media Conference, for example, in Detroit. We were asked to come by to talk about oral history, which is something that we've been working on. We've allied with the Dalit Indian community to hold conferences together. So we don't have the same focus, but we have similar kind of focuses because we focus on cultural identity. At the bottom left, you'll see photos from Blurred. Blurred is a Black Girl Nerd organization in New York City, and we had a comic book edit-a-thon with them. And at the bottom right, you'll see a picture of our UK organizer who is leading activities over there. So in short, it's a good idea to be creative with your outreach. Don't just stay focused on one particular way of doing things. Find different ways to ally yourself with others who have similar interests. It may not be a technical interest, but you may all be interested in a similar area. Find common ground and then connect on those and figure out ways that you can work together. And you don't even have to stay connected just to your local area. You can reach out in different ways. You can take yourself there. You can connect in other ways. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. And of course, take a look at ways to reach out using, for example, in this slide, you'll see the flyer that we use on social media. You can, of course, use listservs. You can use personal connections. Let's just go through this process very quickly. So on this particular slide, our process was to start with one organization in the librarian community. We wanted to be a part of what's called One Librarian, One Rep. And I think many of you may have learned about it during these series. But One Librarian, One Rep was a Wikimedia initiative to get librarians editing Wikipedia, and we wanted to be a part of that. So we connected with our local librarians at the New York Black Librarians Caucus. And we worked with that partnership for a while until we connected and said, you know, we're going to have an edit-a-thon, and here's when we're going to do it. And after that, of course, you reach out through social media, you reach out through Wikipedia itself, listserv, however way you can get the word out. And this is one of the flyers we made for that. And of course, you bring together the people who will make the pieces, right? You need volunteers, for example, at your local Wikipedia organization. We've got in New York City, we've got Wikimedia New York City. You can reach out to people online and say, you know, we're going to have this event. We need volunteers to help teach people how to edit. Some chapters are willing to send people out to help you. You can even get online assistance. We can help you online. There's many ways to get that support. And for our process, we always have a training to make sure people are grounded in one set of knowledge and skills. And it was a great event. As you can see from that photo at the bottom, there are some of the people that were there. Not all of them were librarians. A good portion were librarians, but others from the community were also interested. So there's always that potential for outreach. So I've kind of mentioned a few of the ways that you can reach out. We've talked a little bit about video. I think Rajene mentioned earlier we connected with Ghana that way. I had some people take some video when we were in Ghana for a conference called Wiki Ndaba, and we knew that we would have Black History Month coming up, and we wanted to make sure that people felt connected to the experience that we have in Ghana, so we had that video shot before then. So planning also helped. And as Rajene mentioned, it was a powerful tool for her. And also, don't forget about video links like Skype and Google Hangouts. If you feel isolated in your community, you're like, you know, I'm interested in Wikipedia editing, but I don't have anyone near me who is kind of on the same page. Video links like Google Hangouts and Skype and others are useful for that, just like we're doing today with Web Junction. Also, partnerships are so important. If you have an idea, find an organization who may be on the same page with you and reach out to them to see if you can't bring it to your organization. And of course, there are many opportunities to go to Wikipedia events. I think some were mentioned. And of course, there's online editing. So there's so many ways to reach out. Just be creative and think outside the box when it comes to that, or you can get help. And here's an example of what we have done. In 1 month, like I mentioned, One Librarian, One Rep was a great initiative. I would suggest it for anybody here who's interested in kind of a thematic event that can connect librarians from different places. If you want to connect with other librarians and say, hey, we want to do this thing, get together online and you can make it happen. For us, we had a particularly busy month in June. I think this was last year, 2015, and we made this flyer to go out to kind of let people know what's going on so they can plug in. And there's so many examples of great ways to implement what you're learning here on here. We, just in that month alone, we had people head out to do a culture walk with WikiCommons, taking pictures that you would add to Wikipedia. We had people go to museums. We had people host an editing lab at the Brooklyn Library. We actually started out. And there were training the trainers events. We've also done conferences and community booths, skill shares. We worked with the Brooklyn Library for a skill share. And there are also, of course, topical edit-a-thons and others. So I can definitely go more into those particular ideas later if you're interested. But this last slide here kind of brings together some of the ways that the flow can happen. I mentioned that we wanted to connect with people using video, for example. So I'll walk you through what happened here. We met people in Africa, in Ghana, and we knew, we want to take back what we found here. Just kind of like you met people during this conference and you want to bring them back to your community, but physically that's not possible. So what we did was we connected people from that conference via video and later via video link and kind of brought them over to the Schomburg where we talked about what we learned there and how we can connect on the information that was happening within the community. To this day, we're very connected via social media, via Wikipedia itself and other groups with the groups that we met there. So basically the moral of the story is it's empowering to be able to be part of the telling of your own story. Whether your own story really is identified as I'm a librarian and librarians are awesome, or I think women librarians should be uplifted, or women should be uplifted in this particular avenue, or any other issue. There's some way of finding common ground, connecting with others, creating partnerships with others to come together using open space tool like Wikipedia to coalesce around one topic and grow that topic into something you can do corporately as a community. Mm-hmm. And there's just so many opportunities and ways that you can express that. But ideally what you want, and one way that we measure our success is through the ways that people feel that engagement, that outreach. We have lots of metrics to measure ourselves, but at the end of the day, you want someone like Rajene or some of the other people who work with feeling excited about what you're doing and wanting to mm-hmm. reach out to others about it as well. And that yep. can create a virality around what you're doing. And it's been an exciting kind of adventure these past 2 years doing this. Like I said, we've grown from New York and we spread out to other parts of the country and now other parts of the world. But the core of what we're doing is we are a community, and even if that community, a Wikipedia community, isn't physical, it's more of an idea that it's not just where you physically are, but where you can be together in that connection online or in other ways. You can definitely keep that going, keep that growing. And for anyone who's interested, we'd love to help you grow with that. So please connect with us on social media. We also mm-hmm. have a listserv. It's not on here, but the listserv address is tinyurl, so tinyurl.com/myafrocrowd. So tinyurl.com/myafrocrowd. That'll connect you to the listserv. If you have any other questions, we can talk about it now, but you can also reach me at sherry@afrocrowd.org. And mm-hmm. please follow us on social media, #AfroCROWD everywhere. Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I just want to add one little last anecdote just to show how all things can come together. And it's easy being in New York, so I know a lot of us are not, but I went to a wonderful thing at the Metropolitan on comic books, and I met a wonderful comic book artist named Alicia Martinez. And then I went to an editathon by Art and Feminism where they were trying to get more women articles in Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's our sister group, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I started an article on Alicia, who is a great comic book artist. And then AfroCROWD had their Blurred event, which Sherry mentioned earlier, and Alicia was there. And she was able to see that the article had been created and the folks there knew who she was. So it's really about whatever theme that you have and wherever you can be, whatever connections you can make, you can bring them back to Wikipedia and your community, and then they will grow. I also want to mention that AfroCROWD is also reaching out to Sweden. Is that true too?
Yeah, we're heading to Sweden next month. So in a few, next week actually. We're going to be speaking at the diversity conference there and connecting with friends from other parts of the world who have also been working towards improving diversity in open space and Wikipedia. So that's going to be very exciting.
Right. And the last thing, you did also a translate-a-thon. You helped with that too, yes?
Yes. Thanks so much for mentioning that. So back to the creativeness part. There's so many ways to connect to Wikipedia, and one of them is linguistically. And there are many languages online that are underrepresented as well. So we've connected with professors here in New York City and hope to also reach out to more in the spring with a translate-a-thon where we translate articles from one language to another. And we already is a beta test for that. So look out for us in the spring, where we will be doing it again on a much larger basis, and it's going to be at LaGuardia Community College here in New York. And we're also working with Columbia University on 2 projects right now, one focused on oral history and another focused on what's called Internet in the Box. So there's definitely a lot happening. I think for everyone here, if you can join us for Black History Month in February, that would be fantastic. We're going to be at the Schomburg again. The Schomburg is a great and famous library in Harlem that focuses on the Black history and Black culture research. And that's open to everyone. Come as you are, and we'd love to meet you and have a great time with you. And think of doing it with us online as well if you're not local.